that we have in
Just going to start recording if that's okay. And because we're more than 3 with my account, it's only going to go for 45 minutes.
Okay, cool.
I've just got a couple things I got to do before I join you guys.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to drop earlier as well. Anyway, 2 more minutes for my last update is that I talked to them also about the woolly mammoth and the stuff that I'm working in the backgrounds. I told them about the NFTs. The last time I probably mentioned it to you, my idea has slightly evolved, and I said, okay, I'm actually going to produce a collection of 100 woolly mammoths, 100 NFTs. It's going to be a small amount, but it will be quite significant because I want to create a mammoth caricatures of Fortune 100 people, and make it a bit of a stunt, make a bit of PR. Say, hey guys, you got your NFTs. Some artist created that for you. The proceeds from the sales, the funds from the sales of that will be donated in 100% to the charities that we are supporting or initiatives that we are supporting. These guys love this idea, so they said we need to follow up on that, we need to do something. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Cool. How come?
Well done.
And I think we should try to bring them in somehow. I'm open to your suggestions.
Yeah, I think there's 2 separate things. First of all, regarding your remarks on the group, we have 2 active groups, but the other active group, a lot of people, they are not really active. Right. So it's good to have an active group of people that that really dedicate, and that's one remark. But regarding the other, I mean, I think it's great to have. It's great to have a call with them and see what interests them, what specifically interests them, and then if we can have periodic calls and share with them what's happening. So this is what we are trying to achieve with the impact team, with Michaela and the impact team, and we can do it with different teams. It makes sense.
Absolutely. I didn't mention anything about Michaela. Maybe I should have. But we can always do that on another call.
Yeah, because each team have different objectives, right? So how can we help each team achieve this objective?
These guys were super, like they were hooked up on the mammoth, and they said, like, what do you need? And I said, okay, so we're already in conversation of doing the Sakura, so the staking pool, that's one thing that we would like to run, and it's kind of on track. I'll work with Nori to make that happen, and you guys as well. And the second thing was the NFTs, and he said, like, look, if you need someone who will help you with that, an artist or someone, we can organize that. So it sounds promising. It sounds like they want to do they want to work in a similar collaborative manner to how we guys work with one another.
Yeah, it's good to kind of have, maybe one idea could be to have a IoG network in the database, and that we share with them whenever we do meetups about certain subjects, whenever we do events, and they can come on board and join. I think that's one good thing. And then have a periodic call once a month or once every 2 months, share kind of what they are working on. We try to connect what we do with what they do.
Sounds good.
And the mammoth also, I mean, I love this idea. I don't know if when you are ready and you need something from the community, you can present and see how can we help.
Thank you. That's cool. I think I need to, like, there's so many good ideas out there, and this is my first kind of blind shot, so I'll be modest. I'll take one step at a time, mammoth pace.
No, but that's the way to do it, actually. And if you need in the next step, okay, what do you need specifically? I mean, step-by-step approach is good, but when you are ready for something, you need something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of steps along the way before there's actually mammoths. return to the earth.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, one thing that I would like to do, because I mentioned that to these guys too, I would like to save the mammoth from becoming one of 1,000 mem coins, rug pulls and some silly things. So I would like if there are some creative projects for mammoths, that's great, but I would like them to be giving something back, to be legit, so to be to be meaningful. That's my only dream, to not to make another Shiba Inu, Flocky Inu, Ninja Flocky, whatnot. There's like so many different silly doggy coins, and when it comes to mammoth, I'd like this to be meaningful, to be giving back. We've got like 4 or 5 years before the mammoth is back, so there is time to get there. There are already some, like 1 or 2 or 3 mammoth projects out there. Of course there are, but it doesn't mean that we can't make a mammoth alliance and keep those in a sort of utility way where they would give something back.
Yeah. Anyway, let's discuss it whenever you want. I mean, let's have a discussion. Today the focus now before Little Fish is regenerative agriculture and blockchain. So, but let's have a discussion about that. I mean, there's a lot to talk about what you do. I think also the DAO that you are building for research is really can be amazing to duplicate as a DAO for research. I mean, there's a lot to, but let's this call now was called by Tyler. I mean, we said let's synchronize a little bit. So the idea was first of all to have a conference this Thursday about regenerative agriculture. We didn't hear back from Imorgo, although different people are approaching them, including Felix. So I had a call with Cohen. I exchanged some email and messages with Cohen. He was the one that sent me the links also that they shared. And you see a lot of things happening, but I think we still need to do, all of us, research about blockchain and regenerative agriculture to be more ready kind of with good content. So I told him that we want to delay it in a few weeks to February, and he was happy with that. And because he doesn't have a project himself, right? He represents kind of the regenerative agriculture world, but it's not that he have except for his podcast. And then I'm pushing him all the time down. Not down to us. I tell him, okay, we are going to have some project about regenerative agriculture that I want him to be involved with us and so on. So he will be happy to. And then we don't have a concrete project yet on Catalyst. So I thought about moving it to February. I hope it's okay, Tyler.
I'm really happy about that, actually.
Okay, so we have time to prepare. I know Ryan is very into that. Obviously, we see Dimitri and the gentleman from Ethiopia that all wants to start. So I think we need to have a couple of sessions to see. Megan obviously has a project, so we need to kind of have a session and see what can we do. We know the complexity of regenerative agriculture, right? And I think it makes sense to start in the beginning, which is soil and farmers, and everything is there. But we need to define it together, kind of. There is a document that Tyler started that can be a working document. I think we need a little bit to define more on that, and have a couple of 3-4 weeks more to prepare good for the conference, invite a lot of external people. Anyway, so that was kind of my point.
There's Melanie.
Hey, sorry, my husband was off to work today. He usually leaves tomorrow morning, and I feel like I'm kicking him out the door. It's like, yep, I'm on my Zoom call, so get out. So I try not to do that, because that's he's so very, very important. Just turned 70, and we just had our 25th wedding anniversary in December. So
big month.
He's a keeper.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing man though. Gabriel, my angel. So sorry about
Lucky you.
disappearing on you.
Tyler, for the conference, do you have a lineup of people you want to or topics you want to talk about just yet, or is it
No,
still-
I mean the only speaker that's on the docket is Cohen from Investing in Regenerative Agriculture podcast that Yoram brought on board. So it's awesome that he wants to. I mean, I guess he would be giving like the keynote, the position that Scott did last time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so I just pasted a link to a guy whose name is Jake Freestone. He's apparently some champion in the UK in kind of regenerative agriculture. You know, if need be, I could try to approach him, see if we were available.
okay.
I think
about
this could be amazing. The thing that we need to define, because we want to speak on regenerative agriculture and blockchain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the connection. So we can brainstorm, and by the way, we can do a brainstorming with Coin as well. So the idea was, at least that's my idea, but then everything can change. If we bring something that happened from Cardano on regenerative agriculture, and this was the Imargo doing the traceability on agriculture industry report, which can be very relevant for regenerative agriculture. They speak there a lot on that. So that's one. By the way, also Tony in the digital Atala Prism challenge, he spoke about regenerative agriculture. So we need to write to him as well. If you read the challenge of Atala Prism, it's Fund 7, regenerative agriculture is mentioned there.
Okay.
So maybe we reach out to Tony. Do you want to reach out to him, or you want me to reach out to him?
I could, or Tyler, maybe Tyler, you should talk to him. That'd be great if you've got time.
Well, if somebody else wants to do it, that's cool too.
I'm happy to.
Cool.
I'll
Okay,
definitely.
so reach out to Tony, mention to him that there was a challenge about that. And I know there is at least one proposal in the challenge that speaks about land registry. It's not regenerative agriculture, but it's kind of a start, at least, to give ownership to the farmers on the land so they can get finance and, you know, get other things.
So in idea scale, somewhere in Fund 7 in the Atala Prism channel, right?
Yeah, it's mentioned regenerative agriculture, yeah, and that they want to start from the ground. So we can ask him what's his mind on that. So then we will have Cardano. If we have them and Imargo, we'll have Cardano. Then we thought to have a guest speaker that speaks in general about the importance of regenerative agriculture. That can be Cohen or someone else. Cohen is a great one because I think Cohen can bring potentially also his network to the conference, and that will be wonderful. And the third is something that happened in Catalyst, right? What's happened in the community about regenerative agriculture. And this we are still missing unless we are going to speak about if there is agroforestry project, or if we are going to speak on land registry, for example, project, or
yeah, maybe
carbon
just
project.
Instead of focusing on one, maybe we just kind of focus on where the attention is currently at, with, you know, NFTs representing life forms. Seems like a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can just make a list. Yeah, land registry, traceability, and I guess is another obvious one.
Maybe we can prepare a presentation, us as a team,
yeah,
that speaks about what Catalyst could do with regenerative agriculture, and then show the supply chain of soil, farmers, what we want to do, what's the opportunities with soils and farmers to do regenerative agriculture, traceability, satellite control, traceability through the supply chain until to the customer applications.
Yeah.
Then also connecting with, like you said, Megan Hess has a regenerative agriculture farm that they're just beginning. It doesn't have to be necessarily working, but we can start connecting the people that are doing things so that we aren't all spinning our own wheels and creating our own things, but we can start working together on those. That'd be great to find some sort of a
we have a lot of,
directory.
a directory, and what I spoke with Megan and asked her, okay, so what systems needed to put it on the blockchain? And she doesn't know yet. So that's where we are. I mean, there's a lot of great regenerative agriculture projects, and Dimitri wants to do one, and Ethiopia, and Megan in Cameroon.
Does she actually have it on the ground started though? Like the farm itself is started?
Yeah. So they started very small. They started with 1 hectare or 2 hectares, and she have 50 hectares. And so she planned to do like 5 or 6 hectares next year, and then go step by step.
This is Megan?
Yeah.
Megan, yeah.
Even to follow her from the beginning, through the process is amazing. And to get
it's
support
amazing, but
for
it will take a lot of time.
Yep.
But it will take years. It will take few years, huh?
Yeah, well, who isn't looking at that though? You can't just jump into this, right, and plant an 80-year-old tree. It is starting from somewhere. You have to start. And if we're afraid to start because it's going to take us years, then years go by and we haven't started. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, what they say the best time to plant a tree is yesterday.
Yeah,
second best
asparagus,
time
7 years. I didn't plant it for the longest time because it was going to take too long to produce. By the time I did, it's like, wow, I could have had crops by now if I'd planted it, instead. So
no, that's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, we need to start.
Yeah, I don't think we have to be as afraid of the experiment. Right? We don't have to have success right off the beginning. That's what problem-based or project-based learning is all about, just starting it and working through it. I've found a few. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, sorry, please.
I was jumping onto another topic, but I found a different blockchain working on regenerative agriculture, and I posted that in Discord. So when I have time, I think this is a really good opportunity for us to all do a little bit of research and reach out and make this, really much bigger than it would have been if we had done it.
Because if we find another project in another blockchain, we can copy it to Cardano, right?
Right.
Blockchain. So we can duplicate what we need to duplicate.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of projects around like actual tokens. Like I know one I looked at a while ago was Seeds. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
NFT Seeds or?
No, it's just called Seeds. It was on some platform that was built on EOS. It's been around for a little while. Because when I was kind of like first thinking about this stuff, I just I kind of thought like the token is the way to go. Like that's how we do it. But it's like now I'm seeing like the token is just like one piece. It's like the token facilitates the DAO to do what DAOs do and provide liquidity for things and traceability and all these things. There's like, it's really just like getting all of these different things to fit together. Just like, I mean, it is just like permaculture. I feel like there's like all these different functions that are stacked and they all have to, you need every piece of that,
I think Gimbal Labs is really good for that too. To have a really strong collaboration with them to help on the technical side of things, understanding NFTs, tokens. Now they're doing a token release, the Gimbal, and an NFT password chaos. They're experimenting with these things that are open source that we can go around and copy right off. And I can see C4C having a token. I trade it with Gimbal token, and then this is a cross-pollination that goes on and it becomes part of this DNA chain, a blockchain of how the projects have formed by this interaction. And then suddenly we've got all this volunteering that we do, all this stuff that has no value dollar-wise. All of a sudden we have some sort of traceability that, yes, you know, I've been going back to Gimbal Labs constantly to their meetings, you know, and I'm getting a lot of information from them. Oh, I'm trying to do what Melanie's doing. I need to go check them out. And they also have the credit for the work that they're doing somehow. Kind of exciting. I don't quite understand how it'll happen. Haven't quite zoomed in enough on it, but it looks pretty cool. Sorry, feel like I went on a tangent there.
No, that's good to know. I haven't really checked them out yet.
They're very good. And James, he's a teacher, he's a math teacher. And that's a whole other tech side, you know, that I've started to invite people over from IOG Tech Discord. If I see any kind of indication that they care about climate change or anything, come join us. And they're starting to come. And we've had several techies at our meetings, and we have to kind of bring these two ideas together and start working together.
This is great, really great.
Tyler, I think, sorry, just one last idea, because these guys are based in Edinburgh, just, you know, and my colleague happens to know them. They do vertical grow farms, very successful ones. If we wanted to have someone like them to, you know, do a presentation, I think I could organize that. Cool.
I mean, that's one thing I feel like in this tech space, like when people think of technology and farming, that's what they think of. And it is, you know, there has been a lot of progress in that field, but it's such a small, such a small piece of the pie as far as like how we're going to feed ourselves and regenerate soil. Like we need to take this like degraded, abused farmland and get animals on it and build the soil back up so that, you know, life can return to it. So I feel like, you know, I always feel like there's this current of this like tech-minded folks kind of like have an idea of like, this is where technology, you know, plays a role in the food system. And I feel like we have to like, my role, I feel like is like reminding people that like, no, it looks like, you know, a forest where there's like, or like a field where there's trees and animals walking around and food falling on the ground off of the trees.
It's a matter of,
as cool as that kind of stuff is, I feel like we need to really like actively focus on stuff that doesn't look like that. That's my opinion.
Let's try and work on both ends. It's what John Buck does from Sociocracy. We have the technical side that people are doing things for food, whatever it may be, and it's important. And we do the agriculture on the ground in the forest. I've seen these carbon trees, they're calling trees now, that are supposedly suck down carbon, and it's like,
oh my God.
You know, I'm hitting my head and it's going, these are not trees. Hello, you cannot replace a tree. You cannot replace a forest. So, but we have to work with both, you know, like instead of being adversary with that technology, it's like, oh, that's really great. You know, how are you dealing with the mycelium, the connections, the birds? Where are the birds supposed to nest in this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like the role of technology and regenerative agriculture is like what we're trying to figure out. You know, like where does this new economy fit into this? Like, and also just respecting where we aren't. We don't want to like shoehorn ourselves in there. You know, we have to actually be providing a service, but the legacy system isn't even providing. Well, it's beginning to now. There's actually a whole lot of investment coming in. If you listen to his podcast, you can hear that. But, you know, up until now, there just hasn't been because it's like multi-years. Like, you can't just like buy chemical fertilizer and then get a return this year. It's like you're going to be putting a lot of inputs in and then, you know, increasing returns year after year, but it doesn't start for a while.
So that's the challenge, right? There's two challenges there. One is that it's a mindset change, right? They taught us to do agriculture in a certain way in the last 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. and we need to change the mindset, the poor farmer of this. And second, there's no immediate results, right?
Yep.
So somehow there need to be finance solutions for the farmers, which is normally stuck in a financing cycle, to do the transformation, right, from current agriculture to regenerative agriculture. And that's the two and then it will take a few years. And still there's some things that are not related to the farmer. I mean, if the land is shitty land, okay, I mean, or in a mountain or whatever, there's limited power for the farmer, even if he changed the practice.
Yeah.
Right. We speak also about nature.
It may take time. I was just reading something about the Sahara Desert, where they dug holes. And I think it was a group from Amsterdam that came and they just dug these holes that collected the water, and it would create water, and it's starting to green up over time. But, you know, it could be just simple processes that need to be begun now that start to change the flow of water. When you have, you know, a desert, you've got the topsoil is blown away. There's nothing stopping it. You need a shrub, or, you know, you need to slow down the water by digging that hole, something, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be really big, and it, because it's a growing season, you won't see it really fast. We've been on our property and left it untilled for 13 years now, and it's quite interesting to see the things that grow on their own and where they grow. Now I've got to take it to a new level and start actually intervening. I feel like I have that permission now from my land that I can actually do some changes.
And observing, yeah.
Yeah, I've done my
Ryan, what do you think, Ryan? I mean, you're quiet. You're listening quietly.
I am. We have a lot of good efforts, but you know, so today on Discord, Tyler and I have both been talking with Tafara of Ethiopia, and at some point we're gonna all have to put down our separate efforts, because that's what we are right now, and just throw all of our skills behind a project. And you know, I look at Tafara's project, and I see Landano representing the land. I see Tree Dano going through each block that is designated in that property and representing the trees that we're not going to remove. You know, and I see this happening through a litter coin model where people, citizen scientists, can take pictures of the different land and represent that different land, so we have a record on it. And this all leads to the regenerative agriculture, permaculture of that land, because some of it's going to have to be cleared to support these people that live there, you know. And as we do that, there's a decentralized identity component of it, because every person who lives there or operates on the land has to be represented on chain. You know, we can't, there's a conversation right now on Telegram, how do we see where the money goes that we give to Africa, you know, and that's the DID that we need to tackle. All these projects are great, but until we put them all aside and do a unified solution to things, we're going to end up with wallets with 1,000 tokens, you know, and it might not be a Shiba token or a Dogecoin token, but it is. If there's 1,000 tokens, nobody wants 1,000 tokens in their wallet. You know?
Please, no. I'm trying to consolidate.
Yeah, so we can, until we decide that how to unify, it's death by 1,000 cuts, you know?
Or it's parallel convergence. This is what I see. I see all these different projects working, and you know, I think Sebastian said that in one of the little fish, parallel convergence. Parallel lines by nature do not meet. until you look at them differently and from a different perspective, and they do come together. So, you know, the DID is working on it. Tyler's working on a regenerative agriculture piece. I'm working on connecting. We're all doing these different things on this train track towards something, and we may not see it where it goes in the future, but it will come together. Very cool how you brought all these pieces and mentioned that, though. Imagine if we just waited for one of those to happen, you know, before we moved on with our next step. We can't do it. We have
Well, I think at some point we need to try that. I mean, you know, and I'm actually on Landano's website right now on the other side, and there's other ways. I was going to reach out to Gimbal Labs today to see how we represent land as an NFT. Landano's got a very complex system of that.
Nice ringtone.
Yeah, I'm hooked up to my speaker system, so it really came through. But you know, I think honestly, we go to Tafara and we say, okay, how do we start at square one? We know we have to represent, and then how do we do the next piece? And understanding that the regenerative portion of it is something that it's not that it's just expected. I mean, all these efforts we have, we need to expect it to be, you know, regenerative is not a choice, much the same as we're going to have to cut some forests down to clear land for farming. I mean, we just need to do things the best that we have the ability to. And, you know, I'm going to reach out to Landano and to Gimbal Labs, and we're going to put some of this land that Tafara has, we're going to represent it with an NFT. And we're only going to give money to people that can have a digital identity. We won't give any money to somebody who then distributes beyond that. We can't, I don't see baby steps to get there. We need to make big moves.
The digital ID.
Wouldn't it be cool? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the digital ID in Ethiopia is a bit of a challenge. The ones that go through Cardano, great. The cheap Indian one is causing some problems. So in Ethiopia with digital IDs, it seems to be a bit of a challenge.
Well, what the case that Tafara makes is that there's already these sort of on the ground flesh and blood DAO type of things called IDIRs, and they are recognized by the government. So it's kind of, yeah, like I don't know, we have a lot to learn about how things are structured in Ethiopia, but it's like there is no private land ownership. The government owns everything, but it seems like they're pretty loosey-goosey with things, you know, especially in this region that's like, you know, who knows even has sovereignty over it. But I'm with you, Ryan. I'm actually like so happy to hear you say that, because that, I feel like we need, with all this stuff going on, we do need something to focus on. And, you know, maybe it's not exactly aligning with what everybody's agenda is, personal agenda, but there's so many, if we focus on Ethiopia, there's so many ways for people to like align their interests with this kind of a project. I mean, we have like, you know, I've identified the thing, I've talked about it a million times already, but just the fact that they're burning manure as a fuel source in Ethiopia, and how like baby girl just came in covered in berries.
Oh, things could be so much worse.
Yeah.
Hi, baby girl. Hi.
This is Isla.
Hi, Isla.
But yeah, we can't be burning poop. That's like number one. That's not only non-regenerative, that's like anti-regenerative. Baby, that's you. You're the baby. We have 4 minutes, so.
Yes. Yeah. And then we can pop back into this again if we want to.
But
carry on.
Yeah, let's talk again. But what you suggest? I mean, so what's the suggestion? Is to choose a place and focus on bringing different efforts, building the package of tools needed to support this place.
Look, it's like, yeah, like why not? Like we need something to focus our attention on, and regenerative is about land and water and locations. So why not take this one that is like in a spot that Cardano is active, that there may be digital identities that Cardano can help port over to us, but we can also incentivize our own through an IDIR, through what Tafari also talked a lot about, the diaspora. So there could be an IDIR of, or like people in the diaspora can basically probably form their own IDIR that is attached to this land too. There's a lot of information that we need to collect, but it sounds like Tafari is like on.
So your suggestion is, let's decide on one project in one country. Ethiopia can be one, or whatever we decide on. And then I have another question. Should we focus on a project that didn't start yet to do regenerative agriculture, or a project that is already trying to do regenerative agriculture, or both?
I think they're all the same. I think, Yoram, it's all the same. We can have projects everywhere. We just have to figure out the framework for how they are. It doesn't matter where the land is, because the metadata just goes and forms that land. You know, in regenerative, there's no question. We want them all to be regenerative, you know, whether it's a small farm here in California next to me, or it's land in BC or in Ethiopia or Sri Lanka. We just have to figure out the tools to do this, and we have all those pieces.
It's the same and it's not. It's the same and it's not the same, because the economic model, for example, is not the same, right? And I mean, it's the same, but there are differences. The supply chain is not the same in both places, in Indonesia or in Mexico, or in Houston. That's not the same. I mean, what I'm saying is that the land and what you need to do and a lot is the same, but there are big differences as well. And it's tough to do, I don't know, a lot of different things. Anyway, that's.
You can at least start the template. So we're going to drop off in about a minute. As soon as it cuts off, you're free to you're welcome to jump back into the same Zoom call if we want to keep going. When does
I don't have to be just on audio, but I will be listening and chiming in.
Okay.
No, it's important to decide next steps.
Yeah.
I will tell you in 1 minute when you join about a related project I'm working on, and then we need to make some next steps between us.
Perfect.
And Ryan, really, it would be good to have you involved in that, I think.
Please.
I mean, you're so passionate about it.
And, this is what I'm working on, Metaverse. I since day one, I see the connections to everything, and I don't think we can do it unless we agree that everything is a piece of it. Because once we start running into blocks of dead ends, then
okay, hang on, Carrie, just hang on. I'm going to cut you off because we are going to cut off at any second now, and then hopefully the recording will carry on. I have to convert it on my laptop, but let's use the same Zoom link and jump back in again pretty quick. Let's shut down now, and then we'll